But what I am concerned about, chat, there's two things. One, this came up recently because I guess somebody rediscovered this article, right? Somebody rediscovered this article that 50 to 60% of the population of the planet does not have an internal monologue. They don't have dialogue in their heads. I don't know what operates between that space, but I don't know about you. I have dialogue in my head. I have multiple dialogue trees, if that makes any sense. You know, if you work in gaming and you do that, it's everywhere. NPCs, I guess, but they actually interviewed people that don't have an internal monologue, right? Or dialogue. And the example they gave was like, okay, if your boss asks you something to do something, do you have an internal monologue where you're like, oh, damn it, I don't want to do this. This guy's an idiot, man. Whatever, man. I don't even, wow, what a schmuck, man. Hope somebody explodes his car. You know, that kind of internal monologue or dialogue. Somebody said that, well, no, I don't have that. I'm very frustrated, but I do the thing. There's no internal monologue there. So it jumps from request was made and it agitates you to directly displaying a emotion of frustration. There's got to be a middleman. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be a middleman. You know? Or middle other. I don't care. Whoever. The middle person doesn't have a gender. Okay? It's in your head. It's whatever you identify as. Like, what? So people rediscovered this article and now it was like trending a little bit like, what do you mean? Like people, blah! Like people's heads were exploding, apparently. So, but in turn, I know other people who don't have the internal dialogue see things very visual. Another example is like, you know, when you go to the store and you're like, oh, I got to get milk. That's in your head. Somebody visualizes himself getting milk. I am getting the milk. I see me getting the milk, so I must have the I have to get the milk. I don't even know how I would function without an internal dialogue. I feel like that's strange, right? I mean, to their credit, you know, for people who don't have an internal dialogue, I mean, congratulations, because I don't know how to shut these things up. They just keep going. You know, I can't even say that's good or bad because I'm not quite sure if I think I have met people that don't have an internal dialogue. And it's usually when I say a bunch of fancy things or I get a little too heady, you know, a little bit too intellectual with somebody. And then it's like, I just get that kind of look, you know, I'm just like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Did you read the blah, blah, blah? No, I didn't read that. It was, you know, I've met a few like that. And I kind of assumed they were on drugs. I kind of thought to myself, well, maybe they're, you know, doing stuff and they're not focused, you know, but I kid you not. Now I know why. So, and if you've met a lot of people, and surprisingly we have, you know, considering we're recluses, I think I can tell when somebody doesn't have an internal dialogue because you get that look. You literally, you know, or sometimes they just stare off and they're like, are you listening to anything I said? Yeah. You know, did you enjoy the movie? Tell me your favorite part about it. It was good. Or maybe they visualized the good part that they liked. I don't know. Again, it's a mystery to me. And apparently science is 50 to 60% of the global population does not have an internal monologue, which explains a lot, you know? No, because here's the thing. And I think we've talked about this, but just in case we haven't. If you go to a psychiatrist and you have an internal dialogue, and that psychiatrist has no internal dialogue, and you say, "Doctor, these voices in my head won't shut up." I mean, then the doctor's going to be like, "We're going to give you some medicine," you know, when those voices in your head are 100% natural. So if you have, and you go to a therapist, ask them if they have an internal dialogue. That is going to be a key feature for you to seek proper help. Like, and on the other flip side, if you don't have an internal dialogue and you're going to, like, a psychiatrist who has one, and they're just sitting there like, "This guy's freaking crazy." You know, they're saying that to them in their head. And you're like, "All right, what are you thinking about?" "Nothing, doctor." "Well, what do you mean nothing? Are you thinking about, the great beyond, the nothingness after life, the dark void that may lay before you as we get closer to death?" Nothing." "Okay, let me try this again. What are you thinking?" I'll go play Xbox later." It's important, if you go to a therapist, and whether you don't or do have an internal dialogue, make sure you're paired up with somebody of equal value, is what I'm saying. No, because the last thing I need to do is go to a psychiatrist that doesn't have an internal dialogue, and then they think I'm hearing voices. I'm going to be diagnosed as a schizophrenic because I'm hearing things. "Bro, he's hearing things. He's got voices in his head." No, everybody does. That's good. So just keep that in mind.